have questions for each element, every section.
Okay.
So,
okay.
We're live?
Yeah.
Awesome. Wait, hold on. Let's show the desk a little bit.
Okay. So this is our technical graveyard here. We're working through all of our issues with all of trying to figure out our equipment and stuff. So I actually had this video set up last week, and we had a problem with the audio. So after like an hour, I ended up like finishing the recording, publishing it, and realizing that it wasn't working. So we're gonna try. I had to sneeze. So we're gonna try again this week and kind of go from there. Dude, you're the. Okay, you're the.
I'm holding my breath and you hold your breath.
Okay, you're the question master. So do you want to go? Do it. I feel like you did a really good job introducing us last time and.
So, the question of this podcast and how I'm going to introduce us today is, what are we looking at again? And as simple as that, the way to think about what we're talking about is there's a program that Josh has taken, I'm going through, and there are units for self-development, and a lot of what we're talking about is how do we write and think about our future self, and every unit is moving us towards that future self. And so today what we're going to do is talk about each 3 units.
Mm-hmm.
We put the description of those units in the description on your channel, and I'm going to just try to ask questions. You're going to give me and provide like the psychological remembering that you have from all that you've read and studied, and that's pretty much our show, right?
Cool. Yeah.
For now.
Yeah.
So we're trying to figure out what is the flow of this, but for the most part, we have a passion to look at our future self,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yeah, that's how I found that I was really motivated, was to be, I think it was through first identifying who I wanted to be, because before you can figure out what you want to do, you need to figure out who you want to be, because that's helps you orient yourself of like, okay, you're here, you want to work to be this person up here, and then you figure out the habits and the routines and the micro transactions that take place on a daily basis that help you get to that place. So yeah,
So long way to introduce ourselves, but we are 2 friends. I'm Jack.
I'm Josh. I think, dude, it's the audio shows that it's really quiet. Is that I have another audio problem?
Let me look at that.
Let's do this. So no, but this says input volume is just fine. So maybe not, but you see down here is it's only like one. You see how it's only showing up as like one green bar thing. Anyway.
Well, I see you live, so.
Do you? Hey.
What a thumbnail.
That is a good thumbnail. He made us take it like that. I took it like 3 times stupidly.
Dude, we sound great.
Oh, okay, great. Positive feedback loop.
Sorry.
Yeah.
That is so annoying.
Okay, so first question. So last time we started out talking about identify this course is founded on just being like super, super honest with yourself and really just figuring out. First, let's figure out like exactly who you are, including all your faults and your flaws and all your strengths and all your proclivities, etc. And then next is figuring out where you want to go. And then the last step is figuring out how to get there. And most of the time, people, when they want to change something in their life, they jump to step 3 of how to get there. I want to be healthy. Okay, well, okay, I just need to start getting up early, going to the gym. Okay, dude, I need to start getting this certain type of food. I need to start hanging out with these people. That's step 3. That's like how to get there, right?
Mm-hmm.
But that's actually like the third. So first you need to figure out who you are and be super honest. And then you need to figure out where you want to go. And then you can figure out how to get there. So this step that we're doing now is trying to figuring out like who we are. And the way is figuring out who we are is like asking about our habits. So this section here is 1.3, improving your habits.
Yeah, and so on the way here, I sort of thought of 3 questions that I want to ask you in every single unit.
Okay.
So we can take the conversation wherever we want, but for a little structure, tell me about the in a film, there's elements of a movie, and you can say however you want them to be. You're familiar with Joseph Campbell's circle, right?
Yeah, the hero's journey.
The hero's journey, and every one of those stops is an element. So what are the elements of like improving your habits?
Oh, that's super good. Dang. Jack is the question master, for those of you who don't know. I think the first element is to improving your habits is figuring out, first of all, where are you? Because in the hero's journey with Joseph Campbell, you start out with usually the hero being in a familiar place.
Yeah.
So I think it would be the first element to changing your habits is like figuring out, well, what are your habits now? Because you can't change it if you don't understand what it is. So it would be understanding what your habits are. And then I think identifying a goal to what you want your habits to be, which would be, I think then identifying what you want. And then the last one would be like how to get there, right? Because isn't that what happens in the hero journey? Dang, I feel like maybe this is too like abstract, but yeah, okay. So the element would be, I think the element would be figuring out what are your habits now, and just being like super honest with it. Next is what do you want your habit to be, and then the last step is, which is people's favorite. Okay, well, how can I change it? Because it's really easy to figure out how to brainstorm and come up with ideas, of how you can change something. But I think it's really sucky and hard to be really honest about like the habits that you suck at. So
cool. What are your habits? What's the plan of action for those habits? I would throw in how to change it. Like that element is the struggle or the challenge and the overcoming of that challenge. Does that make sense? Like this serious struggle of
changing your habit.
Yeah, of how.
Yeah, and there's the erroneous, widely held belief that a habit takes 21 days to form or to break, but I think actually I think that was based on something that was fallacious. I'm pretty sure it is. Double check me here. Like look up the you can Google like psych literature on how long it takes to create a habit. I'm pretty sure it's between 60 and 90 days actually, which is double or triple the amount or quadruple the amount of time that is widely held belief. So are you looking it up on Quora?
No, but I haven't. I have a part of the question that has to do with Quora.
Okay.
So, yeah, man, that's cool.
Okay. What's next?
Your habits and things that you do every day take serious reflection. So, man, what's next in my mind is like, I think about how you have to like go towards your own conviction of like, what am I identifying as good habits and bad habits? And every single day, you're the sum of your good and bad. And yeah, I think what's next is just like having someone like this and you and the people around you to bounce off very vulnerably the bad habits and hear from other people about how they're like, look, bad habits don't define you and you are clearly working on them. So that's kind of what I'm getting out of this.
Yeah.
Is like, this is a place for us to like write some of that stuff down.
Yeah, just be like super vulnerable, honest about what it is. I think that's good.
Yeah. And so let's dive into some of these habits from the actual worksheet. And to improve your habits, like give me some of the ways to improve your habits.
School isn't really one.
Yeah, school, work, it says with friends and family, for your health, with regards to smoking, alcohol, drug use.
I can think of work and health. That's the biggest thing.
Tell me what's lighting up in your mind.
So the first thing, this is what Jordan Peterson always talks about. He says it's really easy to imagine, to figure out and identify like what you're doing bad. Like that's everyone can pretty easily think of that. For me, I'm always like snacking, even now when I'm on the Whole30 diet, even though I'm eating healthy, it's just I'm eating a lot of food that's healthy when I don't necessarily need to. It's just kind of I'm bored. So that's a bad habit regarding my health, and I need to figure out other ways to orient that energy other than just always going to the fridge and standing there like, what do I want, and then like snacking on some almonds, applesauce. That's that. I need to fix that. And then the second thing with the work, I would say really sculpting out daily goals that I can have, daily goals that I want to work towards. Like this week for me, it was like, dude, I think I need to make at least 4 sales outreaches a day. And that's not really fun to do because if you don't, because sales is like really high volume before you get a return on your time investment and your effort investment. So
yeah, the amount of times that I have texts with people before we ever start working together and phone calls, that amount of communication is very high.
Yeah, a lot. There's a lot of it. It's high volume.
Do you think that for creators out there, like it's better to keep communicating with the people who are like, I want to work with you, or is it better for them to like go out and find the people that they want to work with?
Wait, say the question again. Exactly how you just said it. So you said,
do you think it's more successful or better for you to communicate with the people who are coming to you that are saying, hey, I want to work with you. Okay, keep communicating, and then you start the project? Or is it better for you to say, man, I really like that person. I'm going to keep communicating and going towards them until you get the sale?
The second one, especially starting out as a small business, like that's one from 2 people in my life who I know who've been super successful and made like the amount of money that I want to be making. Both those people have said that like the dollar is king. Like when it comes to business, do whatever is going to make you money first, and then you can have the fun passion projects that come after that. So I'm still trying to get, I know like this right now, like we're not making money, but this is like the one passion project that I have, and everything else, the dollar is king.
That's work, right? For the creator, that's a goal that they can do. That's literally what you're saying. You just proved your own goal. You're gonna go out and get more.
Yeah, dude. So this week I've had that goal. It's taken me like several iterations. Like Apple's always sending updates to your phone. It's like it's taken me several Apple updates to my work plan to figure out. Okay, every day I finally know what I need to do. I'm gonna spend an hour working on my documentary. I'm gonna spend an hour or 30 minutes responding to all my messages, and then I'm gonna make at least 4 outreaches. And that's actually gone pretty well. But the thing is, dude, I'm freaking leaving in a couple weeks. So now I'm like, do I keep drawing in sales because I'm leaving? So it doesn't really make sense. And
I think you just do as much work as you can. And
yeah,
whatever people see is what they, get back to your habits. Whatever they see, they'll associate to your habits.
Well, dude, I think
they see more videos, they associate you as a hardworking, habitually hardworking person.
Yeah, it's also hard too because, especially as like a video creator, people, unless you're on the person's butt all the time, like, hey, do you want this video? Hey, do you want this video? It falls very low on, or I guess it would be really high on like Maslow's hierarchy of needs. So it's not one of the essentials that you need for your business to run. So it just like falls by the wayside. So I currently have like 7 people in my cache of inbox messages, like where I'm like every few days, like, hey, remember that video? You want to do it next week? Hey, what about this? Hey, what about this? And then people are kind of, it's just, you have to really be on their, even if they really want to do it, you really have to be on their butt about like, so are we going to do this thing? Are we going to do this,
Cool. So habits, follow up, be persistent. I know those are 2 of mine that I definitely need to work on.
Persistence and follow up.
Yeah, follow up.
Dude, Will Coatney said you know what the magic number is for following up?
7.
Yeah. That sucks.
7 times, hit them up. DM, text, phone, email, Facebook.
Show up at their door at midnight.
Handwritten note. Show up at the door.
Yeah.
I've been thinking about this project that I'm doing called Tribe of Creators, and I hope I can use that name because it's a cool name. I just don't know of like copyright or like similarity.
Why someone else has this?
Tim Ferriss made a book called Tribe of Mentors.
Oh, Tribe of Creators is fine.
You think? Yeah. I don't know.
I don't think he's threatened.
Hopefully one day I can ask him. And get him to answer the questions and put them on the first page. But what I was getting at was that, what was I getting at, bro?
Hey, Betty Chung. Yes, audio works this time, guys. Thank you.
Getting at, what was I getting at, dude? How did I just drop that?
Sorry, I keep interrupting you. So Tribe of Creators.
Yeah.
Follow up with them 7 times.
Yeah. I was thinking about putting a USB flash drive into an envelope and mail someone a gift and be like, go to this link, it's private, and watch this video that I made for them and ask them to be in that project, to answer the questions.
Oh, that's cool.
That's follow-up, you know?
That's a hell of a follow-up.
The first contact is like, we talked on Instagram. The second contact is he saw or she saw more of my content as a creator. And then the third and fourth is like, send them a gift, email, text, follow-up. You know?
Is that the way it's supposed to be, or this is just like what
That's what I'm doing.
That's cool. Yeah, there's a dude who I've been trying to get in touch with, and he like does movie stuff in LA. And I messaged him I called him, and he's like, yeah, send me your email. And then the second time, I sent him my email, I didn't respond. Third time, email didn't respond. So then I just sent him a message again this week, and it's like, hey, this is the fourth time that I'm messaging you, but bro, really want to meet? Sorry. And so finally he messaged back and said,
dude, so one of my goals is to make one of the first interactions of following up incredibly memorable.
Dang, if you figure out how to do that, let me know.
And then
you mean like reach out to them in a memorable way?
Yeah. And so then it's like, whoa, got their attention. And it's either maybe it just goes up from there. There's a step function every time.
Yeah. And
I follow up in a good way. Or it slowly goes down, but that big one.
That's cool. In a memorable way.
Mm-hmm.
Like, okay.
Okay, so improving your habits, you have something in your mind of how to improve your habits based off psychological reading and research that you've done. In 40 seconds, tell me something valuable about habits and how to improve them.
Ooh, so habits take a long time. It's 90 days. So if you're trying to change your habit, look, dude, when I went to Europe, I went with really, really bad habits. And there are some that I can't really like mention online. Like, I mean, it wasn't like heroin, but it was like, it was like damaging. Okay. And there was some that was, so for example, every single night when I was going to bed, I was always on my phone or always watching something, and I would fall asleep watching something, and I was addicted to it, and I couldn't not do it. And the nights when I was laying in bed without watching something, I was just like laying in there, and every little crick and like thing, it's like, oh gosh, I can't fall asleep. Okay, fine, I'll just turn on like Netflix and fall asleep to Futurama or something like that. So, oh shoot, this is in 40 seconds. So it took me 90 days. It took me 90 days to change the habit. And first give yourself the grace to imagine like the best possible version of yourself, and then lay that out, contrast that out with where you are currently. And then from that, and think about that for like a solid couple of weeks. Like if I could be anyone, and who am I now? Like super, super freaking honest, and lay those out. And if those line up and you can like see, then it's like good. You're matching reality with your expectations. But if it's kind of like this, then clearly you have a lot of work to do to kind of like align yourself properly towards that. Does that make sense, or is that too freaking abstract?
No, I like it. It's almost like I picture a pillar, but you got to be like pillars of actions. And when you look at your decision-making processes, when you're with family, work, friends, health, those are the pillars. And it's like every time you make a good decision, you maybe write it down.
Yeah.
And then after like a week or two, you look at all the good decisions that you made, and then you can look at that manifesto, that paper, and you can maybe like revisit it every day and be like, wow, today I did not eat well. I had 3 protein bars. That's probably not good.
Which for most people is really well, but for Jack, it's like, oh God, so bad.
Something in my stomach is like, dude, you do not need to eat all 3 of those.
Dude,
so something up saying, even though they're good protein bars, I think I should eat 3.
Yeah, I think that's fair. Dude, yeah, I love talking about this so much because I've never experienced so much transformation in my own life. I've never, ever. And I really think it is. Also, the weekly updates help, but they're painful. They're really painful because you set these goals for yourselves. For me, anyway, so that's it.
Cool.
Okay.
What question should we ask Quora about improving your habits?
Something with motivational. What does motivational psychology say about changing a habit? Because this is why I was sold on Jordan Peterson's. I was sold on his course, and his course really changed. Doing his course and applying myself in his course really changed. I would say it's been the most influential agent of change in my life ever. And I think it's because it makes sense, right? Because it's steeped in science. It's not conjecture. And most of the books that I've ever read before are like conjecture. But if you have stuff that's actually based on science, something that scientist A has, like, he has an hypothesis, he puts his hypothesis to the test, and then he comes out with a conclusion, and his result is repeatable across substrates, and then you have scientist B who comes and do that, and he gets the same result, and then scientist C, scientist D, and then they line up their results, and then whichever results match up perfectly, then they keep those, and then they apply those in this course. It's like, it's so freaking concentrated and so potent, it's almost unbelievable in how effective it is. Okay, so what'd you find?
Cool. So, no, I wrote it. We asked that question to Quora.
Oh, that's cool. You added it. Yeah, I like that.
So
we'll find out.
Yeah. I hear a lot of people do the reverse, where they ask their audience to ask them questions, or their audience asks them questions. And Jordan Peterson got his first kickstart from answering questions on Quora.
Yeah.
And so I think what I'm thinking in this sort of section of our show, this question, what it does is allow the audience to give their answers and maybe see people who are around them and how they've answered. And they're like, I like that answer. Maybe I should go talk to that guy or girl and hopefully get involved. Like, somehow let's get them involved. This is about not just us talking, but the community of people who want to maybe look at some of these psychological questions with us.
That's cool.
How's that feel? Like that?
I like that. I like that feeling.
Cool.
Kind of community reciprocity.
I didn't tell him about it at all.
We're gonna have a talk after this. I'm smiling now.
Okay.
And then I just think we're stopped recording and just hearing like yelling in the background. What the fuck was that?
You didn't prepare me one bit. All right, cool. So that is section 1.3. We are gonna move on. Your social life in the future. Just open up this conversation in whatever direction you want, and I'm gonna wrap it back to those questions.
So basically the question is, think about your friends you might want to have and the connections you might want to make, and describe your ideal social life. And again, I give myself permission, because he asked these types of questions like 700 times. So it's really, you kind of get into a rhythm of like respecting the question and being just like expecting it kind of, or forecasting it. So I like to answer these questions as if I can just be anyone who I freaking want to be. So if I could consider my social network, my friends, let's say like 5 years down the road, if it could be anyone, it would be people who love me, care about me, people who have high moral standards, and maybe I think something with faith, and then people who've done really well for themselves and experienced a lot of success through hard work and natural talent, and people who have teachers' hearts. So you imagine people, for my specific niche, it would be, socially affluent people in the movie industry who's like, hey, dude, I have like 4 films on Netflix, and I've helped film on Queer Eye, and I've helped do this thing for HBO, and I've helped write for Vox, and people who've like been in the upper echelon, and now I'm by them, and they're willing to like teach me.
Did you say people who have a teacher's heart?
Yeah.
Whoa. I like that.
Isn't that cool? Yeah, that's what I think my buddy Will has that. My brother Tim has that. And both those guys have done really well for themselves. So it's cool to.
Why do you say heart instead of head?
Because I think when you have a teacher's heart, you're willing to engage with someone patiently and empathetically. So me and you have talked before about, working with some people. Some people are really easy to work with and really amicable. And then other people kind of like, maybe they're not so amicable, or maybe they're kind of known for not being easy to work with. The first group of people, those people usually have teacher's heart. Like, I think you have a teacher's heart. If I'm like, dude, I don't understand how to do this, can you show me? You're like, yeah, look, let me show you. You do this. And then if I mess up, you're not going to be like, what did you do? Much more empathetic. What did you do, Jack?
Okay. Look, we're going to go over the elements of your social life in the future. So we just talked about people. So I feel like one element is the quality and the archetype of people.
Yeah, well, I would say the characteristics of the people.
Okay.
The characteristics of the people, and then the experience that these people have. Because if you're surrounded by people who are really empathetic, but they have 0 life experience and they haven't been successful, it's like, that's great to a certain extent. Or if you're surrounded by people who are super successful and have experienced a lot of success, but they're super competitive and they're not empathetic and they're not willing to spend the time to teach you, neither of those things work. So you have to mash them together. So I want people who have a teacher's heart, who are humble, who are willing to kind of teach me and engage with me, but also who have had a lot of success.
Okay. The collective experience of people and their ability to give that to you.
Yeah. Yeah, I think so. I like that.
Let's put it as an element.
Cool.
And just to remind everyone, the elements can be whatever you want. You can make elements. Yeah, I don't know how to really define an element right now. I think an element is a component of the greater whole. So, is it a step?
No, I don't think it's a step. I think it's a quality or a characteristic. It's something that can be identified that's unique to that person.
Okay.
So an element of you is like, you're a learner, you're creative, you're curious.
Yeah. So what is like something more tangible?
Okay.
That people can use as elements.
What do you mean?
Like, I would say a learner is a characteristic. Disciplined is a characteristic. And disciplined in a morning routine is a element.
Discipline is a characteristic, and the process. So okay, so in that way, it would be like a step. It would be like,
yeah. Is that cool?
I think that works.
What do you guys think about that? And let me know in the comments. If I just lost everyone, let me know.
It's a little abstract, but I think I kind of get what you're saying.
It's like a noun plus a verb? No.
It's some descriptive about the process. But anyway, so I get what you're saying. So what's the
none? Well, I just think that's one of the ones that I want. Disciplined in a morning routine. So
discipline. So that's one of the things that you want with
an actionable step that I can do to improve my social life going into the future.
Cool.
maybe the elements are things that we do every single day that improve the quality of our social life in the future. So characteristics of people is spend time with one person of the characteristics of the social life in your future. Spend 3 times a week
with those people.
Yeah.
Okay, so what about for you? So so if you take a minute to consider your social network or think about your future, your ideal social life in the future, what does that look like?
Mine is social with nature. Like I go out to do downhill mountain biking or a campfire or surfing and
Or sailing.
sailing, and I minimize, but my social friends minimize sort of the late night club scene. It happens still, but primarily my best life will be lived going into adventurous, sort of outdoorsy, euphoric moments. And I guess that's where I get euphoria, you know?
So, okay, so what about this? So that's like
naturally high by the
elements,
yeah.
by the literal elements. Like
earth, wind, fire, and
water.
But
what about the types of people? What's the types of people you want to surround yourself with?
Types of people are creatively collaborative and very generous with their learnings, like you. They are encouraging and expansionist thinkers who not only make me think of more ideas that I should actively pursue, but help me do them. I think about how I want a van and how I want somebody who hangs out with me in that van to be like, the crack of dawn is like, let's go, baby, let's go. And that's how my friend says, he says that all the time. My best friend, Austin, he always goes, let's go. But like this guy or girl in the van is like, it's 5:30, the sun rises in 30 minutes. You love sunrises, you love nature. Here's a freaking power up, drink this, let's go. And like starts like getting me hyped.
Yeah.
You know, it's like I got all the cameras charged. Like I got today rolling for you. And in 3 hours you can take a nap, you know, like everything is all good. And that's the kind of person I want next to me. It's like it's
like a Casey Neistat.
Yeah, from his videos, like totally. You know, like if you see someone and you just immediately start smiling and you're like, okay, I got energy because you just walked in the room because I know you're up to something and I know we were up to something.
Yeah.
And I'm excited about it. I think that's the number one person I want, you know, an Energizer bunny.
That's cool.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
I can ride with people's energy all day. Like I can stay on everyone's.
Is there anyone that has too much?
Yeah, totally. Yeah, there's people who have too much. I can't stay on everyone's energy level, but if that camaraderie is really there, I'm riding it with you. Like I'm riding the wave. And I think the health decisions that I have and make while I'm like with that person build momentum and exponentially allow me to do that kind of stuff. So another element for me is, you know, encouragement in healthy nutritional choices, you know. Like,
yeah, that's another thing, dude. Yeah, I want that with my people too.
Like,
yeah,
like let's eat what brings us energy. And
yeah, man. The first
time
ever,
Benton does it.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. I was gonna say the first time I ever had someone keep me accountable like that was with Benton. We were on our way down to Oklahoma to see a Thunder game, Thunder versus the Cavs, and we stopped at a gas station. I was like, dude, I'm gonna get some candy. He's like, dude, don't. And I was like, yeah. But seriously, I'm going to. And he got mad. He's like, dude, do not. And I was like, oh, okay. And then I just ate almonds and nuts the whole way down there. And then I felt so good the next day. And that was the beginning of a long journey. So I would add that on my characteristics.
Yeah.
All right.
Dude, healthy food's good. Tastes good too. Okay, in 40 seconds, what was the value in this unit from the readings, the resources, the videos, the podcasts that you've heard? What is just some 40-second form of value on improving your social life in the future?
Ooh, social. Okay. Valuable element of improving social life in the future. I would say.
You're in the Peter McKinnon Club.
I would say just taking the time to articulate who I want to be around, and really being able to clarify those in my head, like people who are all collectively who have been successful, who are generous with their time, who are patient, who are upright people, and who are healthy and they treat themselves healthy. If I could have my whole friend group, all of those people, like wildly successful, ambitious, creative, fun, gentle, and healthy, all of those combined together, and then that's like one person, and then have like a mirage of 8 of those people that I was surrounded with by all the time, dude, I think it would just be my ideal self. It would be.
Did you say write all those? What was the action of after identifying them? Is there an action?
Well, just being able to articulate.
Being able to articulate.
That's what I want. And then imagining kind of running a sequence in my mind of like, what would that look like if I hung out with with that person every day, and the next day someone else who has that same personality profile, and then realizing if every week I was just surrounded by different types of those people, I would just be unstoppable. I feel like someone who's encouraging me to eat healthy, encouraging me to get up early, encouraging me on my sales goals, encouraging me with being creative and taking that next step that I don't really want to take.
And cool. So I was going to get like more tactical. Like, do you call these people? Do you they call you because they're like, I'm trying to keep you accountable?
That comes in the next section.
Oh, okay.
Or in this section. So the first part of this is really like just he doesn't ask you to do anything. He's like, let's just talk. Let's just talk. Cool. Put it out on the table, and then once you talk and you kind of like get everything out, and you speak all these things into existence and sort through crap, blah blah blah. By the way, what time you want to go till?
7.
Cool.
Okay, last part of the questions that I've got for the social life in the future is, what question should we ask Quora?
Ooh. How can you tell if the people around you are good for you? That's such a good idea to ask the Quora. I'll give you 10 out of 10 on your question asking abilities. That's great, man.
I mean, you're making the questions right now, but
yeah, you're like
where do we?
Yeah.
Okay. How can you tell if the people around you are good for you?
I like that.
We will link that in the description below. And I love the tags for these: interpretations of human behavior, social advice, understanding human behavior, interpersonal interactions. I dig it.
I funk with it.
Funk with it. Okay, and right now these are on my personal Quora. Later on in the span of this show, we're gonna look back and be like, remember when we did the first episode on this platform, this channel, and this channel?
Yeah, because we're trying to establish some continuity. The first time we did this was in Jack's basement, and it was good, but what happened? Why did
it was just with the camera, and some of the camera died, so that we lost the audio.
Oh,
the
yeah.
camera died.
So then the next time we tried it down at his office, and then the internet couldn't stream. So then the next time we tried it, which was last week, we tried it here with the cameras, with all this gear, because Jack is like the king of cool gear.
R&D, baby. Just keep looking at stuff.
What did you say?
R&D, research and development.
Yeah. So, dude, he has the coolest crap. But then we forgot a cord this time, so now we're kind of doing it from my computer. So
just make it happen, really.
Yeah.
So whatever channel we need to do it and find the flow. And I'm really liking the flow of this one.
Me too. I feel like we always hit our flow 18 minutes into it. 18 minutes into it, it's like we're hustling. We've broken a sweat. We're like sitting there. We've warmed up, and we're like good. I feel like the first 18 minutes usually are like stretching. It's like 5 a.m. You get to the studio, and you're like, ugh.
I came in feeling pretty good today.
You did?
So,
yeah, good.
I've been feeling the flow today. Might be 2 of these power ups. Might be some resting time that I've had. But anyways, okay, so section 3 is, well, section 1.5 in the future authoring program is improving your leisure activity in the future. So
Yeah, dude, that's
Open it
a
up.
huge one. Being wise with your free time. I think this applies to everyone. Everyone under the age of, or everyone over the age of 12, right? Because leisure time, the older you get, the more sacred your free time is.
okay, I
Yeah.
agree, and I even think anyone over the age of 12 has one of these.
Yeah, totally.
So,
The only
like-
person I know that doesn't is my niece.
So almost the flip side is like once you get to a certain, I guess, device, I don't know.
But
But
once your cell phone age,
yeah,
like this is super huge for you. Who do you know who's wise with their free time? I don't have a whole lot of good role models that are wise with their free time. Like, oh, okay, I guess so this section is, it says without a plan, people often default to kind of whatever is easiest. So your cell phone, your TV, your Netflix, whatever. If you waste 4 hours a day, which is not uncommon, you're wasting how much time a year? How many hours a year? If you waste 4 hours a day, you waste 1,400 hours a year. This should still be on one of my goals, dude. I need to be wiser with my free time. Is there a way to have a constructive goal that you can passively progress towards in your free time? I don't know very many people who do that, because either it's not their free time and they're working, or it's their free time and then they're just kind of like relaxing and recouping, you know?
yeah. So I sometimes think of free time as the time I allow acquaintances to get my time. And if we can define best friends, me spending time with you is not free time.
Mm-hmm.
It's value time. I would say that the thing that we're doing here is worth $50 an hour
Hell yeah, it is.
for ourselves, and like we've identified that this is totally worth it.
But is this free time?
No.
Right. For me, it's not free time.
I guess what I'm getting at is this is content creation, and I've got a brother's friend who has been hitting me up, and he's like, hey, I want to pick your brain, take you to lunch, and talk about social media strategy and planning. And originally I was like, I heard this, and I was like, is that hour or 2 hours that I'm with him worth $50 an hour? Probably not. Because he's not at the best friend or sphere of influence level that I'm looking for at this time. So try to avoid and minimize that hour or two that I spend with him, but still give him value. He asked me questions. I was like, there's this thing called Quora. Here's what I would suggest you do. I gave him an answer, but it didn't require an hour or two.
Right. Yeah, man. That's the other thing too, is the older I get, the more it becomes kind of polarized, because you kind of pull apart from so when you're in your early 20s, you pull apart from your friends you had in high school, and most of them kind of drift away, and a few are latched on, and then maybe that's a symbiotic relationship and you continue it. And then you go through different things, new jobs, maybe you move, and then over time, a lot of those get weeded out, but you still have a few. But then in every new environment you're in, then you have other people kind of coming and like biting for your free time. And it's like, yeah, maybe, but I think you just have to be really vigilant with who you spend it with.
Yeah. You know what I think of is Finding Nemo, when Nemo jumps into the Australian drift, the current.
Yeah, with the turtles.
Yeah, and he's sitting next to the turtles, and he's like, this is so fun. So he was like the random guy who came in, depending on what environment you're in, stuck it with them and jumped out. And then if they ever meet each other again, they're like happy to see each other.
Yeah.
It's kind of like that over a period of decades.
Yeah.
It's like
everyone's like in their own direction, and then you have people who come alongside you for a while.
Yeah, you came in at the right time, and then you got out at the right time because you were going somewhere.
Yeah.
And then hopefully, if they're like the best people and the best, friends in that stream, that current, then they find a way to find themselves again and like meet up again.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think it has to do
like joy.
Yeah, totally. I think that's true.
Joy and sort of a sense of fulfillment, like, hey, you got me to where I needed to go. You helped me on the road and told me to get off in the right place because, you know, the turtles go, get off, you know. And so you're like, I found my dad, fulfilled.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Anyways, side little I thought. All right, so let's go over some elements. What are some elements for your leisure activity in the future?
Oh, gosh. So basically it's saying, let's see, whatever's easiest, such television. So essentially what this is saying, the affect here is like, be wise, just be intentional with your free time. Do you want to spend it, for example, with me? I don't know. I don't have the mental computing power to be able to like figure out the element to this one. But I could say, if you can figure out a way how to parlay your free time into like passively doing something productive. So for example, for me, I have a goal to want to make documentaries. So in my free time, if I'm gonna be watching Netflix, I might as well be watching interesting documentaries that I can kind of like take note on. So I'm kind of cheating the system. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Cheating the system a bit.
You know, we were just talking about the Netflix documentary and just the documentary of Maru.
Mm-hmm.
And you're like, wow, I'm going to go watch that because I'm going to gain from it in a way that you can help improve the quality of your videos.
Yeah.
So that's intentional. Yeah, my co-founder said that today too. He's like, let's be very intentional about what we are trying to spend our time doing to build our company. And I think this is in an awesome way. This is the kind of stuff that I'm trying to be really intentional about, is like make these things come through and be consistent and like follow through. That's definitely a theme in my activity in the future.
Like intentionality.
Yeah.
So what if you could be intentional? Can you find a way to be intentional about your free time and to do one thing that in some way, shape, or form is productive in each one of your what is that? What would that be? So in your free time, you have a chunk of, I think, because I think you get chunks of free time in the day. You have like, from 1 to 2, okay, and then maybe from like 5 to 6 before someone comes over, and then maybe from like 9 to 10 before you go to bed. If you could just find a way to do something kind of productive. So if you're listening to a podcast, or if you're, I don't know, it's hard to abstract this one out,
right?
But I mean, I think it's good just talking about the free time and kind of being intentional, being smart about your free time. I think for me, that's the gist of it. What do you think?
I think one way that you can have an element to your leisure time in your future is by asking a primary question when you feel like you're like, man, I'm really happy that I'm tired. I'm glad I worked so hard. I think I deserve leisure. Ask yourself, will this help improve the momentum maybe in my brain? And does it create emotional resilience in a way that is going to help me for a situation in the future? My leisure time spent in Peru was very, very much a way to improve and allow me to gain perspective into my own thoughts. And, you know, yoga and meditation do those. The plants that you put into your system, the plants in Peru, the plants that are made in Power Up.
Yeah.
You know, what are the things that you can do to improve the ability to handle challenges, like to almost have the stomach for things? So that is still abstract, but it's...
So condense that down into one like usable, applicable sentence.
take more opportunities that you're slightly afraid of.
In your free time?
Yeah. Yeah. I was afraid to go to Peru. I was afraid to sail. But you still went after it. I still went after it. I was afraid to make that one style of video for the first time. I didn't know if anyone would like it.
Yeah.
But I did it.
Yeah, dude, I heard Jordan Peterson say today, you grow, like what happens when you face conflict and what happens when you face fear is that you grow. Even if you do a really crappy job of it, you grow. No, I don't know. I don't know if people will be crazy about doing that in their free time. That's more like muster up the energy and try to like schedule it, but I don't know.
I think I gain energy from doing those fearful things because it's like I've gotten to the point of the capacity of what I think I can resist the most. And I think I'm at my full capacity, and then I go a little bit more because I know that I'm afraid of it. And if I ask that question, then what is it that I'm afraid of, and go towards it, I always feel that growth.
Yeah.
Even if I was tired beforehand. Okay, any other elements that we can think of?
I don't think so.
Cool. Well, we're just documenting these, so
yeah.
What else? There's no required number of elements. If you guys want to write your own elements of your leisure time in the future, please do.
That'd be interesting to hear what they have to say about that.
Yeah, tell us.
Because it's kind of abstract, but I'd be curious to hear, because the whole point of leisure time is like you're able to relax. Is there anything so for a core question, is there anything you can do in your leisure time that's actually productive or something like that,
Okay. Is there...
Dude, I love the core segment, man.
So we jumped to section 3. Is there anything you can do in your leisure time
that's productive?
That's productive. Okay. Yeah.
You think it's good? Okay.
Why not? It's sort of tricky because you have to like, everyone is defining productive differently.
I think by productive it just means taking a step towards something instead of just kind of like basking in the sun,
Yeah, taking a step towards something that makes you happy.
Or towards something that brings meaning in your life, I guess.
Brings meaning.
I think that's good.
Meaning equals emotion.
Okay,
emotion is life. 25, 50.
We got like 5 minutes left.
Cool. We've done 3. This will be the last one. The question I want to ask you is, in 40 seconds, what was the value that you've learned through the reading, the listening of podcasts, or any other way that you've assimilated resources?
About what?
About, let's say, identifying your leisure activity in the future.
Yeah, I think it's valuable to see if there's a way that you can find to do. Can you find a way to do something meaningful in your leisure time? If you're gonna watch a movie, great. Watch a movie that is gonna like further your knowledge base. If you're going to, if you're gonna like just read a book that is gonna teach you something new. If you're gonna hang out with a friend who builds you up, who makes you want to be a better person. If you're gonna go out to eat, go out and get something healthy to eat. Do something that can help you find meaning in your free time. Because I think a lot of free time is just squandered. And I'm speaking from experience.
Is there a tipping point to where something doesn't become valuable? Like, I guess for me to caveat off of that is, in a moment, ask yourself and give yourself 90 seconds to reflect on if you've done an activity before and doing it again will give you meaning. So really weigh out the pros and cons. Hey, I've done 3 episodes with Josh, and I'm going to give myself 90 seconds to like just really be openly honest and be like, is this meaningful to go do it again?
Mm-hmm.
And
if it's
trust
not,
your gut and trust it, because the alternatives are, for me in this situation, was to stay home.
Yeah.
And what, work on something. Whereas when I say yes, I know that that's giving me more energy and momentum and good karma for following through and consistency. So there is meaning in learning about the consistency of things.
Yeah, dude. I just had a thought. With all the effort that we put into getting meaning out of this and into doing this on a weekly basis, and while we have like no one watching it, do you think it would be worth it just to not bring the camera stuff? And like, imagine if we dedicate 30 or 40% of our time to setting up, plugging stuff in, charging stuff, tearing stuff down, technical stuff. What if we spent 5% of our time doing that, and by literally just opening up the laptop and saying and record, and then we did that and then we have so much more time to talk, and then if people start watching, it's like, holy crap, we got 20 people who watched last time. And then if there's an actual audience, or by the end of the season, if it's like, hey, there's still 2 people watching, then whatever. But if we have a larger audience, then be like, dude, we could switch over and like step it up. That's what I do with my podcast. Because when I was first doing it, only a few people did it. We were listening to it. And then by the end, it was like, dude, 70 people downloaded this episode. And it was like, wow, that's freaking awesome. And I don't know. What do you think?
I'm for it. I mean,
or do you like the idea of making it sexy?
I think being romantic is a false truth that we don't need.
You mean what? Wait, what do you mean?
I guess I don't know if I said that correct, but like, it's not something that I need.
You mean like with all this stuff?
Don't need to make this fancy. I'm more interested in the connection of neurons that are going through my brain talking to you, and the reflection that I've got doing this, than I am making sure that the quality is better for more viewers at this point. Right now we are a community of 2, and after 2 weeks, after last week, 3 people hit me up on Instagram.
No way.
And they're like, I love the conversation. And so for me, as long as you guys can hear it and you're down to listen later or whenever it is, yeah, I mean, if this microphone's good enough on your computer, it's good enough for me. As long as
we can test it out when we're done here, and then we'll see if it's decent production value, because this is almost the latest model from Apple. So,
I mean, dude, we can use our phones too.
Yeah.
But I guess no. My thing is like, I want to respect you guys and your viewing time, and I'm thankful for it and the listening that you give us. But at this time, we are more searching for what you guys are actually wanting to listen to than how good the quality is.
Yeah, that's true.
Just my thought.
So we can funk with it. We'll funk with it. We'll see. Is there a program though that we can live stream from and then have it like where we can interactively put up graphics? Jamie, pull it up for me like that.
Yeah, I'm sure there is, but I think we can figure it out later.
Okay.
So let's go ahead and end the episode.
Whoop.
Those were the 3 sections of the self-authoring program, the future authoring program. And I don't know, what do you want to say?
Yeah, cool. We've been trying to do this every Wednesday.
So we're going to keep doing it every Wednesday.
And we're sharpening it. It's been clunky at times, just like figuring out the flow of things, but we're getting there.
Yeah. So shout out to everybody who will and has listened to this.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to check the show notes, the link to the self-authoring program will be in there, as well as the link to the different elements that we wrote. And what else should I link in there?
Future authoring program is good. Some of the Quora questions.
Quora questions, awesome. Yeah, I will put the Quora questions in the description below.
Cool.
Sweet.
So end it now.
Let's do it.
Sweet. All right. See you guys.